Auto program. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime limited powertrain warranty. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Now on Primetime, the Department of Public Health's director releases information on 7 cluster trace investigations. Plus, your elected lawmakers finally convene for emergency session, and an early morning traffic accident marks the island's 8th traffic-related fatality of 2020.
Hafide and good evening, everyone. Hope you're all staying safe out there. Before we get to the latest on efforts with containing COVID, a message from one of our frontline heroes.
Hafide, this is Captain Castro from the Guam Fire Department, reminding you to clean all your household surfaces daily to help prevent the spread of COVID-19.
And we can't express enough gratitude to all our frontline heroes. Thanks for keeping us safe. Thousands of people have been waiting in line for food. Thousands more have either been laid off, furloughed, or have seen a reduction of their work hours as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. Today, during her media briefing, the governor announced that checks could be in the hands of Guam's most vulnerable by this time next week.
I can report that Guam has received IRS approval for the total estimated cost of $134.8 million of federal economic impact payments.
Of that amount, Governor Lulian Guerrero plans to front at least $11 million in local money so that island residents hard hit by the virus can have some form of financial relief.
Tax filers with adjusted gross income of $10,000 or less in tax year 2018 will receive checks in the amount outlined by the federal economic impact payments.
The administration estimates that the local advance will help more than 10,000 individuals and children with promises of reimbursement from the feds. Paying out the entire $134.8 million is something Gov Guam cannot afford as it deals with the pandemic crisis.
I am able to make this available now because of prudent cash management with the expectation that such funds will be flowing back to Guam. There is no additional cash for new programs beyond this point.
The governor is hoping that the remaining $123 million in federal economic payments under the CARES package should be available in about 2 weeks. The one-time stimulus checks for individuals who make under $75,000 will be $1,200, and for married couples making less than $150,000, it's $2,400. Those who make more in either bracket are expected to receive less. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Sabrina Salas, Matanani.
Meanwhile, lawmakers met an emergency session today, their first formal gathering since the coronavirus crisis broke out. Senators wore protective masks and gloves, and their desks in the Congress Hall were spread out in compliance with the governor's social distancing executive order. There are almost a dozen bills up for consideration, and the session was punctuated by many short recesses as senators had to deal with very limited support staff. Most of the day was spent on the first bill on file, a measure by Vice Speaker Talina Nelson to provide hazard pay differential for frontline workers.
Madam Speaker, the COVID-19 pandemic has become an overwhelming public health emergency impacting disaster relief workers and civilians that are needed and required to assist in providing essential goods and services during a time of need. It is the intent to provide uniform guidelines within the law to make provisions for the extension and specification of hazardous pay differential to employees who perform work which involves the exposure to hazardous conditions during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Private sector employees were initially included in the bill, but were removed by a successful motion by Senator Tello Taitagui, who argued that businesses were not given an opportunity to provide input on how it would affect them. Republicans also complained earlier that the emergency agenda was adopted without minority input. They said they also have bills to help with the crisis, which weren't on the second reading file for discussion. Senators were still in discussing Vice Speaker Nelson's bill as of news time. Public Health Director Linda DeNorsi released information this afternoon on 7 cluster trace investigations that have been completed for March 14th through the 20th. Public Health has finished their group-setting investigations involving the Hafide Bingo, Sinahanya Senior Citizen Center, and a golf trip to the Philippines. They also linked individuals who traveled to attend a social gathering in the Philippines, as well as a fundraising activity. But while those are done, DeNorsi says there are 7 more to go.
So within that time period, there were 22 positive cases with these 7 types of clusters. In addition to that, we have also 7 other clusters that we've identified. As I mentioned earlier, was the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church, where we identified 11 positive cases. And as you know, that church also comes and they have a church facility at Jigo, Harmon, and also the Opera Agate. There was also a family gathering, a birthday party at one of the hotels, and that resulted in 5 patients being COVID positive due to that gathering. There were 2 settings from the healthcare workers particularly, and that resulted in 17 positive cases. And as you know already, we had travelers that came from the Philippines through the United Airlines, that we had 3 cases from the quarantine facility, and 1 United Airlines flight crew, and also 2 United Airlines flights from Honolulu to Guam.
DeNorsi urges anyone who may be linked to the final group to call her agency so that they can determine whether there's been any close contact with the COVID positive cases. The numbers to call are 480-7859, 480-6760, 480-6763, or 480-7883. Meanwhile, the number of confirmed COVID cases of sailors assigned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt continues to rise. According to the latest numbers released by the military, as of today, 93% of the crew have been tested, with 286 positive cases of COVID-19 so far and 2,588 negative results. 2,329 sailors have been moved ashore, and as testing continues, the ship will keep enough sailors on board to sustain essential services and to sanitize the ship in port. There have been 0 hospitalizations. Civil Defense Administrator Charles Esteva says 150 federal medical station beds will be set up in an alternative care site before the end of the month. Last week, Guam received the first shipment of 50 beds through FEMA, and since then, Civil Defense has been assessing locations for the operation. Estevez tells KUAM that the University of Guam Field House meets all the necessary requirements and may be designated as the site.
The bed is one component of it, right? Then you have the medical cache, you have the supplies as well. But they need to be spread out X number of feet. There's floor planning considerations. So a lot of these things are need to be accounted for, right, when designating the space. But the average recommended space is about 40,000 square feet. So it's a pretty sizable. So you're talking about like the field house, right? Or football field size. And these federal medical stations are recommended for indoor use.
Esteva says emergency medical shelters might also be placed in the Guam Memorial Hospital parking lot. Dededo Mayor Melissa Savares is concerned about the homeless and the hungry, not just in her village, but island-wide. Savares, also the president of the Mayor's Council, says she and her colleagues have seen troubling increases in the number of people seeking assistance in this difficult time. The mayor said with the COVID-caused shutdown being extended for another month, she is bracing for the worst based on the need for food and help that she's seeing.
We have 3 schools that serve the school lunches as well. And so the increased lines of vehicles coming in to the schools, there's more families lining up than we've seen in the past several days. So at least we know that families that are in need of food for their children are taking advantage of that.
GDOE has provided over 260,000 meals since it started its grab-and-go meal program at 12 locations around the island. Savares said she has an increase of requests for documents people need to apply for food stamps. The governor has told displaced workers and those financially impacted to apply for food stamps, and this has led to mayor's offices being inundated with requests for verification forms needed to apply for SNAP benefits. Savares also said she hasn't heard any update from the governor on her plans to house the homeless. 2 homeless people have tested positive for COVID-19. While the governor has ordered the island to stay home, many don't have a home to go to, especially since shelters, at least in Dededo, have reached capacity.
I've seen over at our Goma San Jose, the shelter is not taking any new clients from what they already have in place. They also have, I believe it's 4 homes that are for the larger families just outside the structure of the shelter. And all those rooms and homes are occupied at this time.
Meanwhile, Savara said the mayors are troubled by a lack of communication from the governor's office. She tells KUAM a question on the status of housing homeless was left unread and unanswered. The governor's Physicians Advisory Group is meeting tonight to go over the latest numbers for COVID-19 and for a briefing on the rapid test kits that are on the way. Sabrina Salas-Matanani reports.
Dr. Felix Cabrera has been the bearer of bad news when it comes to the COVID-19 trajectory for Guam.
And our trajectory right now is, I would say, optimistically better.
During Dr. Cabrera's presentation last week, the trajectory showed a best-case scenario of 700 deaths in the next several months, but that's only if the current spread is reduced by 50%. The worst-case scenario, a projected 3,000 deaths if we only reduce the spread by 20%.
We are adjusting our worst plausible, case scenario. And that's looking a little bit better.
But that's not something to celebrate because the numbers only reflect a period of time, or specifically what Guam has been doing to contain COVID over the last 2 weeks.
It's like the same thing as saying, we know there's a super typhoon that's, several hundred miles away or 1,000 miles away. And it was raining. It was raining yesterday, and it's sunny today.
Dr. Cabrera warning forecasts can change on any given day.
Just because there's a few cases that come up positive, from the day before or what have you, that's because we did good stuff, 2 weeks ago, and when you see a spike up in cases, that's probably because we relaxed 2 weeks ago.
It's all the more reason everyone should remain extremely vigilant, practice social distancing, wash your hands, mask up, and more importantly, stay home. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Sabrina Salas-Matanani.
The Physicians Advisory Group will be discussing rapid test kits that will be arriving to Guam and how they will be deployed. Members of the group say the rapid test kits are not finite, but is intended for use as a tool to assist in diagnosis. You can watch the entire interview with Dr. Cabrera on our YouTube channel. The airline industry has come to a near standstill globally, and according to a media release, while United Airlines plans to make drastic cuts to its international and domestic routes, it wants to maintain the Guam route to ensure that the island receives lifeline and cargo services. During this crisis, United has been using its passenger aircraft to fly in critical medical supplies, to conduct medical evacuations, and to transport fresh goods and essentials. Managing Director of Airport Operations for Asia Pacific, Sam Shinohara, says they're doing everything possible to maintain these lifeline flights, even when it doesn't make economic sense. He adds, in this time of COVID-19, it may seem like the natural decision to close Guam's borders. Frankly, he says the flights have allowed healthcare authorities to conduct timely testing. Shinohara adds that maintaining flight service in and out of Guam will be important for the community. When an ill patient needs to seek care off-island, he says there is no time to waste. And some sobering news out of the CNMI, as all public school system employees that are locally funded will face a payless payday on Good Friday. A memo went out today to all PSS employees informing them that they are unable to make payroll tomorrow, but assures affected employees that once funding is available, they will cut checks. Those same employees are still waiting for 30% of what's still owed from their last check. Federally funded at PSS, in the meantime, will get paid in full. Earlier this week, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres said he needs to reduce the budget of the CNMI government in half because of the pandemic crisis. He is expected to announce massive furloughs in the coming days. And stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Ruby Tuesday Guam is still preparing the dishes you love for either curbside carryout or delivery. Call them at 647-7828 or 647-7829 for curbside carryout service with a smile. For delivery, download the free Grab and Grub app and follow the instructions to get Ruby Tuesdays delivered to your door. Stay safe and healthy, Guam.
When we face an uncertain path, when we struggle with life's challenges, and when the unexpected happens, it's a beautiful day. We rely on the people we trust, it's a beautiful, who we can always count on. And the ones who give us the most care throughout the years. Rely on Calvo's Select Care to give you the comfort and security you need wherever you are. Calvo's Select Care, health care that's always there for you.
We are open to serve you at Cars Plus Guam. Need a quick service for your vehicle? Visit our express lane at Cars Plus. Done fast, done right. No appointment needed. Our service team is dedicated to helping you get your vehicle in and out of the shop and back on the road quickly and securely. Simply drop off your vehicle at our express lane driveway, and one of our service advisors will take care of it. Need a ride? Not to worry. We have a shuttle vehicle ready to drop you back home and pick you up when your vehicle is ready. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Visit us today. We are open to serve you.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back. An early morning car crash marks the 8th traffic-related fatality of the year. Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says the uptick in fatal auto accidents is the result of drivers speeding well over the legal limit, and that's the primary reason for the DWI checkpoints. Adriana Cotero reports.
That instant, that tragic.
A male driver was traveling along Route 15 in Jigo toward Manilao when he lost control and ran off the road and collided with a concrete utility pole near the former Anderson South housing. At 1:15 a.m. this morning, Guam Police Department officers from the Dedado Precinct Command responded to the scene, and upon arriving, the man was found lifeless with no pulse. He was transported to the Guam Memorial Hospital morgue and bypassed any life-saving measures. The case remains open as traffic investigators determine if speed, alcohol, or drugs were factors with the crash. However, according to GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau, through evidence gathered with the recent auto fatalities, officers are reporting speed to be a main factor, and this led the department to ramp up their speed enforcement by DWI checkpoints.
That's our 8th fatal crash that occurred on our roadways of Guam, and when we just had one, I believe, 2 days ago, three days ago. So when we made the announcement of the DWI checkpoints, it was really to address the issue of what's happening with our fatalities, but the message was there, to prevent this from happening, just stay home. Yeah. Stop the spread and stay home.
Tapau says people are forgetting there are laws, and since the start of the checkpoints, drivers are speeding way beyond 35 miles per hour. He adds one driver was clocked at 90 miles per hour. And when issuing citations, Sergeant Tapau assures officers are wearing personal protective equipment and following social distancing orders.
We have a protocol. We have a unit director from Highway Patrol and how to deal with, if somebody should administer the breath test, how we're going to properly deploy that, and of course utilize that unit directive so that we can safeguard not just the person that's taking it for the suspicion of driving while impaired, or and also our officers that are working.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
The $43,000 brought in Wednesday night in a live-stream telethon hosted by the University of Guam was more than double their goal of $20,000. There were some 327 donations during the fundraising event, which was streamed live for 2 hours on the university's Facebook page. UOG President Dr. Thomas Christ said it was very uplifting to see our community come together against this common enemy, and these generous donations will go a long way in supplying our frontline workers with critically needed supplies. The money will go directly toward the purchase of meals, face masks, shields, and other equipment for healthcare workers. And while COVID-19 may be interrupting our lives and everyday routines, the social distancing and lockdown didn't stop one young woman from connecting with her hula sisters. Although they're apart, dance and our culture still bring them together. Jonah Gancharfra says more.
Former Dededo resident Jessalyn Marie Cruz currently resides in Seattle, Washington, where she's attending Seattle Pacific University. Just like Guam, Seattle is also having to adhere to certain social distancing policies.
It's been pretty crazy for me personally. I'm here by myself here at school, so it's been kind of lonely at times, but I've gotten, not used to it, but I've gotten the hang of it a little bit. But it's definitely weird just because when I go out to grocery shop, it's not empty, but like the roads are empty, and in Seattle it's very crazy busy all the time. So I would leave at 5 o'clock and it's completely dead, and I'm like, this is so weird. It's like a ghost town.
Her parents and sisters live in New Jersey, but she makes sure to communicate with them every day, whether it's on the phone or via their family WhatsApp chat group. Jessalyn has been dancing since she was little, but hadn't danced in a while because she was focusing on her studies. But with the lockdown and being indoors, she reminisced about the time when she was in the cultural dance group, Guma Imahi.
I was seeing all these videos on Facebook of people just singing and trying to bring joy in this crazy time. And so my mom actually had the idea of, she was like, you should do like a dance to one of the numbers that you see. And I was like, yeah, like that sounds good. And then instead of just me doing it by myself, I was like, maybe I should, communicate with my former hula sisters and see if they were interested, just because I know everyone is staying at home unless they're an essential worker.
So she reached out to her hula sisters, Ruby Cruz, Roanne Matlock, Chanel St. Nicholas, Sarah Chargaloff, Sala Jo Celestial, Mia Cruz, and Mayla Cruz. Each one recording themselves dancing to Joel Larimer's Gumupu Si Paluma, which he also choreographed.
I didn't think it was going to get as much views as it did, I guess. Like, people were just constantly sharing it. And I mean, that's kind of what I wanted. I just wanted to be able to share something that I love to do with the world. I feel like dancing songs about my culture just brings me closer to it, especially, being a military kid, moving so often. I don't know Chamorro like my grandpa does, but I would love to learn it, and the best way that I learn it is through dance.
And along with wanting to share her love of dance.
Honestly, the biggest reason why I wanted to do it, because my mom loves watching me dance, and she hasn't seen me dance in a long time.
The video has been shared all over Facebook. As for a message she has for her family and friends,
just stay home, wash your hands, and don't talk to your friends. It's super hard. I know that it's super hard to, not see your friends. Like, my friends that are here, we're just constantly just FaceTiming because we can't be around each other. But I love you all, and please just be safe.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonah Gancharfris.
Coming up, Dave Delgado talks with GNOC President Rick Bloss. Don't go away.
As our island continues to band together to protect our families and communities from the effects of COVID-19, we at GCA want to assure you that we are here for you. Should you need to contact us for any reason, you can chat with us online at www.gta.net, connect with us on Facebook, or call us at 644-4482. Families are at the heart of what we do, and we are committed to keep you and yours safe, healthy, and connected. GCA, we start with you.
Hafaday, I'm Bernie Valencia with Matson. Our local Matson team understands that these are very trying times for everyone. Matson's top priority, like yours, is to keep our families safe and healthy and ensure you have what you need. We'd like to give you peace of mind that Matson's service continues on schedule and uninterrupted. Matson is committed to our weekly service from the United States West Coast to Honolulu into Guam and Saipan. We are working with the Port Authority of Guam and providing the capacity and services our customers need so they can continue to meet your needs. Matson will take all appropriate measures to ensure continuity of service into Guam and Saipan. When we work together to take care of our family and neighbors, we will emerge from this as a stronger island community.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Port Authority of Guam, KUAM Communications, and Matson.
Right now, there's a lot of unknowns out there. But the one thing that is clear is the importance of your safety, both physically and financially. At First Hawaiian Bank, we are doing everything we can to make things as normal as possible. We've also developed ways to relieve some of the financial challenges you may be facing. We understand it's an uncertain time, but when we stick together, yes, we can get through this. Learn more at fhb.com/relief.
Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We get the show started tonight with an interview with GNOC President Rick Blas. He says the Olympic Committee was closely monitoring the COVID-19 pandemic and the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Check it out.
About 2 weeks ago, the IOC has been in contact with us prior to them making the announcement. The initial contact with the IOC president, along with the 17 NOCs in Oceania, were online to discuss how to move forward with COVID-19. At that time when he spoke to us, we weren't really talking about moving the games until next year or any cancellation. We were just preparing to move forward.
The games were eventually postponed until 2021. Guam has athletes who are currently training and staying in shape for swimming, athletics, Olympic weightlifting, taekwondo, judo, and wrestling.
For those that were still attempting to qualify, gives them another year to really better their performance. But at the same time, for many athletes, as in the case of Tugati, who will commit to her assignment with the U.S. Navy, I don't foresee that as a problem. As I said earlier, the military has always been supportive of the U.S. Olympic team, along with the Guam Olympic team, along with those that are in the service. So they've always made allowance to support those athletes who has made qualification standards to represent the respective territories.
The GNOC continues to engage with the National Federation leadership. Blas has also cautioned the athletes about their training regimens and minimizing sessions to coaches and athletes only.
My discussion with like weightlifting and wrestling, judo, was basically continue the training, but continue to also follow the safeguards. But more importantly is that, like for wrestling, they have the potential to now qualify 3 athletes instead of 2. And then for weightlifting, the possibility of qualifying 1 to 2 more athletes. And given the 1 year additional time to make sure that their athletes can meet those standards. So again, the 1 year is a benefit to them, but you know, it's kind of difficult knowing the conditions that we now have to work in terms of safeguarding their immediate surrounding and their training program. So it's an isolated training program for most, if not all, the athletes that are still preparing.
The Shea Scholar Athletes nomination forms can be done online at SheaScholarAthletes.com. Click on the nomination form and submit to drshay@yahoo.com by May 1st. Make sure to include a photo of the scholar athlete. To be eligible, athletes need a minimum GPA of 3.4 based on a 4.0 system or 84 based on a 100-point system. The student must not smoke, drink alcohol, or use other drugs. Finalists will be notified starting May 15th and will be interviewed via Skype or Zoom. 1 male and 1 female athlete will be given a $2,000 scholarship. In national news, Carolina Panthers new head coach Matt Rule spoke to the media for the first time since quarterback Cam Newton was released from the team. He says the time was right for the move, and Teddy Bridgewater is the right fit moving forward.
The right time for us. We saw the opportunity to get Teddy, and really felt like, he was the right fit for us, and so went ahead and made that call. Not an easy call, but one that we thought was the best thing for us moving forward. I don't even want to make it too much about, Cam in a negative way, because I have so much respect for him and the player that he is, and the player that he'll probably that he definitely will continue to be. To me, it was just, at the end of the day, you have to make decisions about, hey, what are we going to do moving forward? And we felt like this was the time to go in this direction, to bring Teddy on, and obviously his relationship with Joe, knowing the offense.
Dear people who haven't had a Big Mac, it can feel like the whole world is out there enjoying them without you. You might wonder, is it too late for me? Look who's enjoying that special sauce on their special day. From firemen to crossing guards to, oh, this one's really rubbing it in. But even if you've never had McDonald's most McDonald's burger, today could be the day that changes. Now available in 3 sizes. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
We are with you. At times when you need us most, you can count on us to be there. When you need someone to talk to. When you need to stay informed. When you need to brighten your day. When you need to stay connected. We are here keeping our promise that while the world is changing, we keep working so you can keep connecting. We are your Docomo Pacific family, and we are here to help.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
Your April 9th birthday shout-outs have us saying happy birthday to Gerald Polino. Feliz cumpleaños, Boboy. We love you and are thankful for another year with you. Love your crazy familia. Happy birthday also to Jay with love from your entire family. And happy birthday number 11 to Deandra Goodbye. A proud Panihi, but always a Guihan at heart. Much love from family and friends. Happiest of birthday wishes tonight to Logan Zander. His family says, hope you're having a memorable birthday with family. Enjoy and God bless you. Love, the Fam Dad. And happy birthday wishes likewise going out to Angelique Serafico, who celebrates her birthday today, and to Leticia Seguenza. We hope each and every one of you had an awesome birthday. Now please, stay inside, stay home, save lives, and let's all be good to each other.
And remember, you can be a part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and your birthday. That'll do it for us here on Primetime. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Good night.